Imagine, if you will, I offer you $500,000 for a piece of property. You like the number, you accept the deal, and then you go to me and say, give me the $500,000 and I'll sign over the property. And I think about it and say, well, how about this? You sign over the piece of property and I'll give you $500,000. Well, we're at a standoff. Back, we got a problem. That's where escrow comes in. So what is an escrow? That's a question a lot of people are afraid to ask. I mean, we're in escrow. It's like, oh, congratulations. Is it like they're expecting a child or something? The property's under escrow, or it's in escrow, or it fell out of escrow, or at the close of escrow, and there's an escrow officer. Is there like a government official with handcuffs or something? You hear the term an escrow state. It's like a state of mind, or California is an escrow state. What is this term, escrow? Escrow, in the most general sense of the word, is when a transaction is run through a neutral third party who ensures that all the terms to the agreement are met before it's finalized. Or, as example, that all the money's put in escrow, that the title in a real estate transaction is clear, and that the lender has been paid off, and that there's no back due property taxes. All those things that are part of that original contract and agreement, escrow goes through and checks off that each party has lived up to their side of the agreement before the transaction is completed. In California, we use escrow as a tool for real estate transactions. Not every state does, but California does. Once the property is under contract, which means the buyer and the seller have negotiated out all the terms of the agreement, then they're ready to open escrow. To open escrow, the parties to an agreement take the contract to an escrow company, and they open a file, they prepare escrow instructions, which are essentially just restating the terms of the agreement, and an initial deposit, a good faith deposit, if you will, is put into escrow by the buyer. Once the escrow instructions are drawn, they get sent both to the buyer and the seller. Both parties will receive instructions restating the contract. They'll also both receive something like a statement of information, kind of verifying who they are. The seller has something called a grant deed. That will need to be notarized. That's the one thing generally that needs to be notarized in the escrow instructions. And that's just an extra level to make sure that, in fact, it was truly that person with some form of ID that signed and executed the grant deed. That goes all to escrow, so the property doesn't transfer until all of the terms of the agreement are met. Once escrow receives back those packages, then they have the authority to go through and order demands from the bank to see, how much money, if any, is owed on the property, or maybe check with the homeowners association if there is one. That gives them authority to go through parts of that contract and make sure that they're actually being adhered to before the final closing. So once all the conditions of the agreement have been met, and this may also include a loan to be funded by the buyer who may be borrowing money, that may be part of the contract. Also, it may include, getting a demand from the old lender if there was a loan on the property, or that also, once we've made sure all back taxes were paid, that's part of what the title insurance helps check, and if there's no other liens on it, and if all those people are paid. Once escrow has all that in order and the terms of the contract have been made and it's ready to close, they close escrow, and then the funds are distributed to anybody who's owed any money through the transaction. And then also title is passed on to the new owner. You've just now closed escrow. Congratulations. Let's face it, it's a lot. That's why you hire a professional who you trust to help walk you through the process and make sure that you're going through all the steps correctly. And if you have any questions about the escrow process or anything in real estate for that matter, please feel free to reach out to us here at the Mike Dunfee Group, and we're happy to help.